Hello, and welcome to Superb Woman Sundays. I'm Janet Neal, and I'm thrilled to have you with us tonight. I am the founder and queen bee at the Superb Woman Incorporated. And for those of you who are new to the broadcast, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let me tell you about the Superb Woman. I come from the belief that women are powerful, innately powerful beings, and that many of us have no idea. We've either given away our power, or we just haven't even been able to access it. And that's what the Superb Woman is all about. It's about helping women to understand that they are powerful beings, to give them the tools and resources they need in order to step into that power for the betterment of all. Because when women use their power, step into their power, and their power, what I'm talking about, is not necessarily their job or their political power, but it's really using those skills, those talents, the energy that's aligned with their values. When they do that, they are powerful beings. And when they put that positive energy back into the world, it helps all of us. And I don't know about you, but I think that the earth could use a little bit more positive energy out there. So that's what this is all about. And the show, the Superb Woman Sundays at 7, is all about highlighting women who have stepped into their power, who are doing just that. I am blessed to be able to have met so many superb women on my path. And I know that I'm inspired by them all, and I wanted to be able to bring their stories to you so that you can also be inspired by them. And let me give you one other little commercial before we get to my wonderful guest. I also am trying to bring this message of empowerment to women across the country. Actually, I'll go across the globe. I want to reach 1,000 women who need to hear this empowerment message but cannot afford to pay for it. And I've got a campaign going on right now called 1,000 Women Stronger. If you go to plumalley.co, and at the end of the YouTube version of this, you'll see a slide about it. But if you go there, you can donate and help me to be able to help these women in order to help us all. But enough about that. Let me talk about my guest tonight, Janice MacLeod-Lik. Janice and I met in graduate school. And Janice, at the time, although she's from Canada, she was living and working in LA, and she was working in the advertising industry. Oh my goodness, I cannot talk tonight. And was writing advertising copy, and you'll hear more about that. However, the most amazing thing about Janice is that she truly has followed her dream. And I'm not even going to tell any more about that because she has a great story. And Janice, that story, is in the book that she's written called Paris Letters. Now, I am a big fan of Eat, Pray, Love, but I am a bigger fan of Paris Letters partially because I know Janice, but it is such a wonderful, heartwarming story. Similar concept, but let's get to Janice and have her tell us all about it. So welcome, Janice.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Janet. So lovely to see your beautiful face.
Well, welcome. So we have an international show tonight because Janice is coming to us from Calgary, correct?
Yes, snowy Calgary.
Oh, yes. Well, tis the season.
Yes. There's nothing wrong with the snow.
No. So Janice, as I alluded to, when we met, you were in the advertising industry in LA, and that is not where you are now, obviously. So how did you get from being in LA in the advertising industry and then getting over to Paris where you wrote this wonderful book, and then tell us that whole story?
It started in 2010. I was in advertising for many years, and I had reached my limit with my ability to sustain enthusiasm for my job. And I saw this long, miserable road ahead of me, writing junk mail, and I thought, I just can't. I can't. But how can I not do this? And I thought, well, I don't know the answer. So I knew, though, that I could figure it out. And the reason I knew is because I read a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And in it, she talks about writing 3 pages in your journal every day. And then the artist will emerge magically. And I thought, well, all right, Julia, let's do this thing. So as a New Year's resolution in January 2010, I said, I am going to write in my journal 3 pages a day, every day, and I'm going to blog about it, and I'm going to see, we're all going to see together what happens. And so I started blogging, I started writing in my journal and blogging, and I was just reams of paper complaining about my job. And I thought, I can't do this forever. I can't complain about my job in these pages. And then there was this moment while I was writing, flustered, and I just thought, how much money does it take to quit your job? And I thought, that is what I want to figure out. That's what this year is. How much money does it take to quit your job? And I spent all of 2010 figuring that out for myself. How much money would I have to save, and saving it to quit my job? And if I quit my job, what would I want to do? I would want to travel. So I can't have this apartment full of stuff. So while I'm saving up, I'll start paring down my stuff. And maybe by the end of the year, I'll save up enough money and I'll have everything down to one suitcase so that it can all kind of come together and I can travel. And I did it. And I spent 2011 traveling. And of course, I landed in Paris, first stop. And then after a very circuitous, wonderful, romantic situation detailed in the book, I returned to Paris and became an artist. And now I'm an artist full-time.
Well, I remember when we were in grad school, we had a second-year project that we had to do. My second-year project involved empowerment of women, and here I am today. And yours, as I recall, was doing artwork, correct?
It was learning how to paint.
Yeah. So
that was 2007, right? 2007.
Right. So I knew you were an artist. So, part of the graduate school that we went to was really gave me this foundation for the Superb Woman, because it really helped you to look at your values, your strengths, your gifts. So before you did that, Janice, you had been a writer for quite a while, right?
Yeah, in advertising, and I did write a few books. I wrote a few self-help books. One was called The Breakup Repair Kit, and one was called The Dating Repair Kit, and I had a co-author, and we had a good time doing it, and I loved writing. I did love writing, but I was doing it during the day, too. So writing during the day for my job and then writing at night was too much. So I said, well, what else am I going to do? The opposite, which is painting. For me, instead of words, it would still be an art form, but it was painting. So I started practicing that in grad school, which is amazing because I really felt like I had no talent for it. I just liked the art supplies. That was enough. That was my first lesson on this road, which is follow the enthusiasm. It's not a new concept, but it was for me. It's like, what do I love? Well, I love art supplies. I love playing with art supplies, and that was enough of a nugget to start playing with art supplies. And 3 years later, I sold all those paintings and kept the cash and paid for my plane ticket to Paris. Yeah.
So I think that's a really important message, because people say that all the time. Oh, sure, follow your bliss and the job will follow. But you really created a career out of this by following your bliss. So you get over to Paris, and then you start this business. And here's a copy of what Janice does now, among other things. But tell us about these letters that you write.
Oh, yes. Jan, I have one here, too. Here's one of my latest ones. Hot off the press, people.
Oh, yay.
Even though this one's about Italy. But I was in Paris, and I needed, and I knew I would be there for some time. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? And I didn't have a work visa. I had a travel visa. So you have to look at all the aspects of your life and see how it can fit together easily and quickly without too much strife. And I thought, well, I can't get a job at Starbucks here. I can't do that. I don't have the visa for that. So I had to utilize another way. And so I spent all of my time painting, doing my watercolors, and writing letters. And at some point, magically, the idea came together where I would write a letter on my watercolors, and I would send it to people who liked fun mail. And that became my Paris letters business, which I did on Etsy remotely and from Paris. So I didn't need a work visa in Paris to do that, you know, because I can legally work online here. And it was such a joy to do because I was doing it anyway. I was writing letters and I was painting. And it just was this magical thing of, yeah, this is happening. I'm doing this. And of course, I followed my enthusiasm. And it seemed to pay. Like, people wanted letters. And if they didn't want letters, they had grandmothers that they knew wanted letters. So I would send their grandmother a letter every month when they were too busy or tired to do it themselves. I mean, I send letters to so many grandmothers, and they all take it down to their friends, and some people meet in knitting groups, and they pass the letter around, and oh, it's just this wonderful medium to please people and please myself. That's my dream for everyone, is to find something that pleases yourself and pleases other people. And then you've got magic, and then just magic happens.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I can tell you, as a recipient of these letters, I look forward to them every month, and I do live vicariously through them, as if I'm in Paris myself. So it's fabulous. And so for those of you who are watching, who will be watching this on the YouTube version, at the end there will be a link to the Etsy site where you can find out more about that. But let me go back to something that you talked about. Oh, and before I forget, those of you who are watching live, if you've got some questions, feel free to ask them. I'll be monitoring your questions and make sure that we'll ask those of Janice. So, but let me ask you a question now, because I recently gave a talk on stuff, why we have it, and how to get rid of it. And most recently, this weekend, I'm just coming from my fiance's where we were packing him up. And so the fact that you got rid of everything down to, was it 2 suitcases or just one?
I was down to 1 suitcase and a carry-on. I had a book bag for the flight.
Wow. See, I can't even fathom that, and you are totally my hero for doing that. But you give some great suggestions in the book. Share a couple of the suggestions on how you went about doing that.
Oh, getting rid of, well, the thing with clutter is that it works in 2 ways. You open up space in your home, so your home feels lighter and bigger, and also you teach yourself about stuff and go, I am not going to spend my weekends, my free weekends, shopping. No, no, no. We're not bringing anything into this beautiful, sacred space. So how I did it, drawer by drawer. First, I started with my underwear drawer because that's the easiest. We all know what doesn't fit, what does fit, and what's worn out in that underwear drawer. It is the fastest way to clean out a drawer. And I got rid of all kinds of unmentionables and had my little tiny pile of folded undies and bras, and it just looked so free. And I thought, that's wonderful. And then I started with my closet next to it, and I pulled out everything that wasn't flattering. And I thought, okay, look at all these pants. I just want the 1 pair. Just the 1 pair. That's enough for now. So I got rid of all these pants in the black pant category. And then in the jeans category, you know, I got rid of all of all of the jeans except for one pair. So I had one pair in the jean category. And I just kept going, like going along in my house. And sometimes I didn't really want to do it. So I set my alarm for 20 minutes. And I said, 20 minutes, that's it. I'm going to clean out a drawer for 20 minutes. And then I can quit. And I always had a garbage bag with me in the room. Not a little waste paper basket. That's not going to get it done. And in the clothes area, I had two. I had my garbage bag, and I also had a thrift store bag. So I would toss my thrift store things in my car immediately. And then when I would leave the house, before I came back to the house in my car, I would drop off the bag at the thrift store. Because we all have bags of thrift store things in our house.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting it done. So I was just really, I was so thrilled at the idea of traveling and knew the reality of keeping all that stuff and how much storage would cost over time that it was just very easy to let go of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Plus I had a lot of cheap clothes.
Mm. Yeah. Well, so talk about how that may have helped you to kind of redefine what was important to you.
Well, first, just inside my house, I felt lighter. I did feel like my things, after time, I didn't realize the weight and the burden of having so many things. So my home became much more sanctified. It felt like a holy space to relax, which was really important for me during that year because I really was burning out at my job. My yang energy was at an all-time low. So coming home to regenerate felt very good. Even thinking about it now, thinking about that apartment, I'm like, oh. And of course it became training for living in a teeny tiny apartment in Paris, which is good. And Parisians never have anything. They keep the, I mean, they don't have, they have some things, but they're very aware of their space. So they keep the best of the best. And I thought, that is wonderful. And that is a really nice way to live your life. High quality, fewer things is actually cheaper in the long run than buying a few things that are really great because they're on sale. And I've learned the value of things, and also what doesn't make me happy. Clutter in my house doesn't make me happy, but spending money on airline tickets does. And experiences, and just having this library of memory that I can go to when I'm not feeling so hot. Oh, remember that moment when I was walking in Rome. That was nice. And I can bring that past here, whereas I can't bring a thing that I bought back then here. Memory lasts longer and it feels better. So that's what I do. We're in this life to collect memories.
That's great. That's fabulous. All right, so you have literally gone on a path, an adventure around halfway around the world and back again. So I always say that even though you're an independent soul, you can't do it all by yourself. So who's helped you on your pathway?
Oh, well, they're not just one person. I mean, there's a whole team of angels. We are either in the presence of angels or being angels ourselves. And first, when I think back, first I went to a travel writers conference many years ago called Book Passage in Corte Madera. And I came across a slew of travel writers and photographers, and I just saw how these people lived their lives. And I thought, oh, they just have this energy about them that's so appealing and not something I was seeing in my day job at my advertising agency. So it started there, and getting to know travel writers and getting to read their stuff because I liked the person, so then I would read the person's books and articles. And And it started there, and then as I went along, just more, you know, Elizabeth Gilbert and Eat, Pray, Love, that was influential for me. Somebody who wasn't a travel writer, really. I mean, she was a journalist, but she wasn't necessarily a travel memoir writer. And I thought, well, look at that. She changed her stars. Huh, that's cool. And then even doing research on where I was going to go, you know, I'd watch Anthony Bourdain on the Food Network or Travel Channel. But anyway, he's a travel food guy, and he's like the most brilliant writer. And I thought, oh, there's another one, you know, just kind of showing me what's possible for myself. So it's not one person, but all these influences have been in my path, and I just keep my tentacles out and look at what's interesting, and they teach me. They teach me.
So it's being really aware, knowing what you want, and then being aware.
Yes, exactly. And then, of course, people come. People arrive. People say, you should go here, you should go there. Oh, okay, I'll go here and there. And then I meet people there who say, yo, you got to go there. And you just follow the lead of others who have been there before you. And they offer clues. They offer breadcrumbs as you're just going along your path. And it's just being aware is, and of course, following your enthusiasm. Again, that seems to be the theme of this call. Following your enthusiasm.
Fabulous, fabulous. So the other thing that I say about being a superb woman is leading a should-free life. So when I can only imagine the shoulds that were going through your head when you were working in the advertising agency. So share with us a should or two that you have released along the way.
Well, there were two types of shoulds, right? There was the should from other people, but there was a shoulds from myself, too. There's always both of them, because they're saying, you should not quit your job. And I was saying to myself, you should listen to them. But, you know, they're saying that because they're caring, and they have their own fears that they bring to the table. They should not quit their job. For whatever reason, they should not quit their job, which has nothing to do with me. So I did release listening to them, and I also released listening to myself, like my fear-based self. You know, I have this fear-based self over here that's like, no, don't do that. And then there's this, thankfully, at this point, larger version of myself that's all like, stop talking. Just stop. Just no, you know, and thank God for this bigger version of myself that sees this, because before it was all the should. You should listen to all those naysayers, and it wasn't working, right? I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy in my job, so why would I be happier after listening to them? So the only should now is you should not listen to others, including yourself, when people are following the should with should not. You should not. You should not. You should not. It's like, doop, doop, doop. I even catch it in other people, and I try not to get angry. Don't say that. But you should not. Stop listening. Just stop listening when people start.
Yeah. So that's an important, I think that's a really important point that you're making, that the should, when it's coming from a fear-based place, that's the one not to listen to. And you said now you can tell the difference, but how could you tell the difference? What skills did you have to learn in order to be able to tell the difference?
It was fatigue. Fatigue was my biggest skill. When I would hear somebody say you should not do something or you should not go there, I would feel kind of tired, and just just tired. And even myself, you should not, blah, blah, blah. I just felt tired. But then somebody would say, you know, you should do this. And usually it was one of these. So they're enthusiastic, and then I get enthusiastic. And no one who said, you know, you should not quit your job. No one ever said that, right? They were like, you should not quit your job. So my fatigue level, and you know, we all have got to listen to your fatigue. Your fatigue is your friend because it tells you that that's not the path. Go over in this direction. You shouldn't feel tired all the time.
Mm-hmm. That's excellent. So being really aware of your body and listening to your body. And I have been preaching that for a long time, that your body does not lie and your body will get your attention. So I love what you're saying about, you know, listen to the fatigue factor, so that if there's fatigue, there's something's not right.
Yeah, something's not right. And generally, and being quiet and resting and getting enough sleep, you know, creating a life where you get enough sleep, creating a life where you have sleep where you can sleep well. Sleep is lovely.
Yeah, kind of important.
Kind of important. Yeah, and we don't do it enough.
I know.
I think sleep is the fountain of youth, people. It's the fountain of youth.
So Janice, what's next for you? So you're back in Canada, and again, oops, this way. Read her book, Paris Letters, and you can get the rest of the story. It's a fantastic story. But now you're in Canada, so what's next?
Yes, I very recently moved to Canada. Very recently. In fact, I just took the tags off my mittens just a few days ago. It's that recent, and I had to buy mittens because I didn't have any. Add that to my one suitcase. So right now, Christoph and I decided about 6 months ago to go. And so we traveled for a very long time. And he was born with one suitcase. I mean, he only chooses to live a life with one suitcase, which is amazing because I didn't know that at the time. But it's really handy when you say, hey.
Before you go any further, Christoph is her husband, in case you
Christoph, yes.
The rest of the story.
The lovely Christoph is the lovely man I met when I was in Paris. And he was working at a butcher shop, and I sat across the cobblestone street at a cafe and looked at him, and I thought, well, I like what I see. I can go to this cafe more often. And at some point, he turned and he liked what he saw, and here we are exploring the world together. So, so more recently, so we decided to travel. We've been traveling, and we ended up in Calgary because we love the mountains, and why not? Why not? I have no good reason for the answer. You know, people ask all the time, why did you move from Paris to Calgary? It doesn't make me tired. It makes me enthusiastic. And later, I'll find out why. Later, all of the dots will connect. And of course, this will be the most logical choice. But for now, it's just somewhere that we wanted to try. Why not?
Why not? Why not, indeed?
Why not? Why not? And you know, the people who say you should not, turn away from them and look for people who say why not? Why not? Why not?
Yep. Fabulous. Well, Janice, we're just about out of time here, so I want to thank you so much for being my guest.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and again, one more time, Paris Letters. Get it on Amazon and at your local bookstore. Oh, Janice has one too.
I have one too. I have a few copies.
And they can they get that off of your website as well?
It's just a link to your local Amazons and local stores. So go to wherever you want to go and buy it. There's all kinds of places that you can get it. Thankfully, which is wonderful. I'm so blessed to have this wonderful book.
Excellent. Well, you'll enjoy it. So please pick that up. And then if you want to find out more about the Paris Letters on Etsy, go to, what's the Etsy?
Here's another Paris letter that I have over here. I got a whole slew of them. I got a whole pile of them. They can go to etsy.com/shop/Janice Art Ship.
Janice Art Ship? Okay.
Janice Art Ship. And it's because, again, I never really thought it through when I did it back in the day. I could have chosen Janice MacLeod. Didn't think of it. Now it's taken. So anyway, but you can go to my website, janicemacleod.com, and there's all kinds of links there that'll get you where you got to go.
Fabulous.
If you want
That's
letters,
the way to do it.
yeah, you can get them there, and then if you want books, you can get them there. And in December, I'll have a few more offerings for Christmas, letters, and
Excellent.
all kinds.
All right, great. So thank you so much for being my guest, and thank you, audience, for participating this evening. And join us again next week on Superb Woman Sundays at 7. Have a great week.